Have you ever wondered why we often make irrational decisions, even when we know better? Welcome to our channel, The Book Digest. In Daniel Kahneman's groundbreaking book, Thinking, Fast and Slow, we embark on a fascinating journey into the architecture of our minds, revealing the two distinct systems that govern our thoughts, decisions, and perceptions. It's a revelation that will change how you understand yourself and the world around you, often in surprisingly flawed ways. Based on decades of research and his Nobel Prize-winning insights, Kahneman introduces us to System 1, our fast, intuitive, and emotional mind, and System 2, our slow, deliberate, and logical counterpart. Together, these systems shape every choice, belief, and perception, and understanding their interplay is key to navigating life's complexities more effectively. In the first part, Two Systems of Thinking, Kahneman masterfully breaks down the distinct mechanics of these two systems. System 1 is the mind's automatic, quick response mode. Think of it as your mental autopilot, operating with little conscious effort. It's why you instantly recognize a familiar face or read emotions on someone's face without even trying. It's all about instinct, intuition, and learned patterns designed for efficiency. On the flip side, System 2 is your brain's analytical workhorse. This is the part of your mind that kicks in when you're solving a complex math problem, analyzing a difficult situation, or making a major life decision. It requires concentration, logic, and deliberation. While System 2 is more accurate and rational, it's also slower and requires effort to engage. This is why our minds often prefer to rely on System 1, even when it might lead us astray. And this reliance on System 1 comes at a price. It's prone to errors and biases. Driven by past experiences and mental shortcuts, System 1 often jumps to conclusions based on limited information. Take the jumping to conclusions error, where System 1 fills in the blanks, assuming it knows the whole story from just a few clues. Kahneman illustrates this with an experiment where participants were shown images of faces expressing strong emotions. Without any context, System 1 instantly ascribed reasons for those emotions, based on stereotypes and past experiences, ignoring deeper explanations. System 2, however, is our safeguard. It analyzes details, considers context, and makes fewer mistakes. But it's lazy. Kahneman's famous bat and ball experiment perfectly demonstrates this. When asked, a bat and a ball together cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Most people intuitively blur out 10 cents, System 1 at work. But System 2, when engaged, reveals the correct answer is 5 cents. Similarly, the Linda problem highlights how System 1's storytelling tendency can override logic. When presented with Linda, an outspoken feminist, and asked if she's more likely to be a bank teller or a feminist bank teller, many chose the latter, despite it being statistically less probable. System 2 would recognize the logical flaw. Understanding this interplay is the first step to making better decisions. Part 2, heuristics and biases, is where Kahneman truly exposes the hidden workings of our minds. He dives deep into the cognitive shortcuts, or heuristics, that System 1 uses to make quick judgments. While these shortcuts can be efficient, they also introduce systematic biases that distort our judgment in ways we often don't realize. One prominent bias is the anchoring effect. We tend to rely too heavily on the first piece of information given to us, the anchor, which then skews our subsequent judgments. Kahneman showed this by having participants estimate the number of African nations in the UN after being exposed to a random number on a wheel. The initial, irrelevant number significantly influenced their guesses. Then there's the availability heuristic. We judge the likelihood of events based on how easily examples come to mind. If something is easily recalled, we assume it's more common. This is why vivid, memorable events like plane crashes seem more frequent than they actually are, while mundane but statistically more dangerous events like car accidents are often underestimated. The representativeness heuristic leads us to categorize events or people based on how much they resemble an existing stereotype. The Linda problem is a classic example of this, demonstrating how we confuse similarity with probability. The halo effect describes our tendency to let one positive characteristic shape our overall impression. If someone is attractive or charismatic, we unconsciously assume they're also competent or trustworthy. Substitution is another sneaky bias where we replace a difficult question with an easier one without realizing it. Instead of evaluating, how happy are you with your life overall, we might unconsciously answer, how happy am I right now? Kahneman also explores optimism and overconfidence bias, which lead us to overestimate positive outcomes and underestimate negative ones. Entrepreneurs, for instance, often believe they have a much higher chance of success than the actual statistics suggest. This feeds into the planning fallacy, where we consistently underestimate the time, costs, and risks of future actions while overestimating the benefits. Public works projects like the Sydney Opera House are classic examples of this, routinely exceeding budgets and timelines. The hindsight bias makes past events seem more predictable than they actually were. After an event occurs, we often convince ourselves we knew it all along, even if we had no way of predicting it. Finally, loss aversion is a powerful bias where we prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. Losing $100 feels significantly worse than the pleasure of gaining $100. This explains why we cling to failing investments or choose safer options over risky, high-reward alternatives. Understanding these heuristics and biases is like gaining a superpower, allowing us to recognize and counteract their influence in our daily lives. Part 3 delves into overconfidence and errors of prediction, highlighting how our inflated sense of accuracy, even among experts, leads to poor decision-making. Kahneman emphasizes that experts' forecasts are often no better than random guesses. He suggests countering the planning fallacy and overconfidence by taking an outside view, examining predictions against similar past projects, and employing pre-mortems, imagining a project has already failed and identifying reasons why. These strategies encourage a more balanced, system-to-oriented approach. In Part 4, Choices and Loss Aversion, Kahneman introduces prospect theory, which challenges traditional economic models that assume rational behavior. He and Amos Tversky demonstrate that we weigh losses more heavily than gains, impacting everything from financial decisions to how we respond to risks. Framing effects show how the way choices are presented influences our decisions. For example, a treatment with a 90% survival rate is preferred over one with a 10% mortality rate, even though they're identical. The endowment effect reveals we assign a higher value to objects simply because we own them, making it hard to part with them even when it's disadvantageous. He also discusses the certainty effect and possibility effect, showing how we overvalue certain outcomes and disproportionately prioritize avoiding even low-risk, severe losses. Mental accounting illustrates how we compartmentalize money, leading to irrational spending. The sunk cost fallacy explains why we continue with failing projects due to past investments, and regret aversion highlights our tendency to avoid decisions we might regret, leading to inertia. These insights illuminate our often irrational choices due to ingrained biases and emotional responses. Finally, in Part 5, Two Selves, the experiencing and remembering selves, Kahneman introduces a truly profound concept: the distinction between our experiencing self and our remembering self. The experiencing self lives in the moment, feeling pain and pleasure as it happens. The remembering self, however, reviews past experiences and shapes how we feel about them, often overriding the experiencing self. This means our memories, not the experiences themselves, define our overall happiness. Kahneman's famous medical procedure experiment perfectly illustrates this. Participants who endured a longer but milder discomfort rated it as preferable to a shorter, more intense experience. The peak end rule explains this. Our remembering self forgives discomfort if the ending is less intense. This suggests we can shape happiness not just by having positive experiences, but by ending them on a positive note. The duration neglect effect further shows that the length of an experience is overshadowed by its peak moments and how it ends. This dual self theory has profound implications. It suggests that by consciously creating peak positive moments and ending experience as well, we can engineer happier memories that our remembering self will carry forward. This applies to everything from a medical procedure ending with a few moments of comfort to shaping personal relationships by ending interactions on a positive note. In conclusion, Daniel Kahneman's Thinking, Fast and Slow offers a transformative look at how our minds work. By understanding System 1 and System 2, along with the biases and errors that influence us, we gain invaluable insights into ourselves. This knowledge empowers us to improve our decision-making, increase our self-awareness, and navigate life's complexities more thoughtfully and successfully. True wisdom, Kahneman reminds us, lies in acknowledging our limitations and embracing strategies to counteract our inherent biases. Thank you so much for listening and joining us. If you enjoyed this audiobook summary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more book summaries that help you expand your mind. Drop a comment below to let us know which book you'd like us to explore next, and we'll consider it for our upcoming episodes. We look forward to bringing you more valuable content right here on Page by Page. Until next time, keep learning and growing.